Well, today I'm going to answer a question that I received on one of my videos on YouTube called the 5/7 chord. And here's the question right here. In the piano book I'm using, they refer to the chord BFG in the key of C major as the 5/7 chord. And they give the explanation that the D, the fifth, is sometimes dropped. It would seem to me this should be a chord of a different name. What's the deal with this? That's an excellent question. And I know in a lot of ways everybody kind of thinks, okay, well, here's the theory of it. This is how it should work, and it should work out like that every single time. But let's talk about some of the mechanics of why this may or may not be this way. So here is a G triad right here. And if I would add one more note, this makes it a 7th chord. And this makes it a dominant 7th chord because we're on the key of the C. And the reason why you can see this is between G and F there. That's not a major 7th, that's a minor 7th, which makes it where it's resolved to the C chord. So the chord you're talking about right here is the B, F, and G, and I guess this basically you have that inversion there. I'll put it back down here to make it, to show it that we're just basically missing the 5th. So here's the root, 1, 3 away, we're missing the 5th, and then 7. So this is why we call this a 7 chord here. And if I were to keep stacking notes above this, that would be a 9th, 11th, and a 13th. And if we get up to the 15th, that just repeats G. So I doubt anybody, including myself, can read that note. That's really high up in the air. So there's a couple things that goes on here. One, the ear kind of hears that this is missing here, that it fills it in a bit. That's one of the things. But also, like on certain instruments, like the guitar. The piano, I got 10 fingers that I can play, and if I hold down the sustain pedal, I can theoretically even have more notes that I'm playing as well. On certain instruments that can play chords, like the guitar, banjo, mandolin, ukulele, you may not be able to play all the notes of the chord on there, especially if I start stacking thirds. If I get to a 13th chord, I can't play all those. There's certain conventions that we do that we leave out certain notes, and the 5th is one of the first ones that we leave out. As a matter of fact, in a lot of ways, in jazz, I can just play that there, and that's going to sound like a dominant G7 chord, because the bass is most likely going to be playing the root, or root 5th, or something like that. So that's pretty sparse there, but our ears can fill in the missing 5th that's there and whatnot, and put down a couple notes there. So hopefully that answers the question a little bit in some aspects. So it really isn't a different chord, it's just missing the 5th. And that's an excellent question. Hopefully that answers your question about why this chord in your book is called the B, F, and D and G, that inversion right there, and why we call that still this chord right here. So you can play that on the piano. It has a certain sound to it. This has a certain sound as well when you do all these inversions. And one thing that you can do when you start doing these inversions, and basically what I'll do real quickly, I'll just transpose this down an octave to make it a little easier to see. So all I'm going to do is put this on top. So there's a first inversion, there's a second inversion, there's a third inversion, and then back to the root position of that chord. And each one of those inversions has a different quality when you play them on the piano or guitar or whatever instrument that you use. And when you orchestrate these as well, that's another thing as well, that when you orchestrate stuff, there's certain different notes give different colors to different things. Like if I'm going to orchestrate this chord here, one of the most powerful notes is this third. The other really powerful note is the 7th. So I'm really careful when I double these notes here with various instruments. The root I can get away with a lot. The 5th I can get away with a lot very easily. But that 3rd is really powerful, and that 7th is really powerful. And so basically this chord here wants to go to this chord here, And so if you listen to it, so that's a nice strong cadence there. And basically this interval here, the B to F, which is a diminished fifth, wants to go to this little, go back to home to that C note there. So hopefully this helps answer your question. As always, rock and roll, and of course, it does compute. If you like this type of amazing content, please subscribe to my YouTube channel because that would totally compute. Thank you.